What does freedom mean to you as a Nigerian? Does it actually mean the same thing to someone in the United States or China?
Think about that. Freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is different things to different people. What do you think freedom is?
What does it actually mean to them? Is there such a thing as a universal answer or definition to what freedom should be? I guarantee you, it is not as easy as you may think it is to answer. And this is because freedom means different things to different people around the world. If you don't believe me, take a look at this image that was taken a couple of months before the 2020 presidential election inside the United States. From what we see in this image, the owner of this vehicle probably wasn't happy with the then president of the United States and decided to take it to the extreme by printing out some profanities and placing them on the back window of his car. I was recently talking with an American friend. He was trying to explain to me why America is the greatest nation on earth. So he said to me, "This is a great example of why America is the best nation on earth. In America, you have the ultimate freedom to do what you want. If you want to disrespect your leader, you can do that. You could even put it at the back of your car, just like this man, just like the owner of this car." Now the question is, would there be any need to go that extreme just to disrespect our leaders in Nigeria if we had such a wonderful nation like the United States or China? The aim of this video is for you as a Nigerian to derive what freedom implies for you. What would a total freedom mean to you? By doing this, those who don't understand your plight as a Nigerian or as an African won't be able to force their understanding or their idea of freedom on you. Our nation has recently found itself in the worst situations ever seen since the end of the Civil War. Every day, our citizens are clamoring for freedom. Freedom from human rights abuses, police brutality, freedom to protect our safety, freedom for different ethnicities in Nigeria to decide their fates and economic destinies, the security of their region, and so on. Or even the freedom for an individual Nigerian youth to reach his full potentials. It should never be assumed that what freedom implies in the United States applies to the entire globe, whether it be China, Singapore, Hong Kong, Qatar, or Finland, or even Nigeria. But in reality, we consume more information from the Western world than we generate in Nigeria. And this is the problem. We are still yet to figure out the implications of what we are doing and why it is important that we have to live our own lives. Now let me talk about this. We often say that there are no human rights in China and many other Asian countries. And as a result, nearly every Nigerian would prefer to go to America or other Western nation, where you are entitled to a permanent residence or citizenship. It's understandable and I completely agree. However, I know a few Americans who lived for many years in China and have nothing but amazing things to say about China in all its ramifications. You might think Chinese people are racist against black people. Right, yep, and I agree with you. But do you know that the same American media has never said a good thing about China? Now the question is, does the absence of offering citizenship and permanent residency means the absence of human right to freedom? I just want to throw a little light on this, but for sure, this is a topic for another day. In my opinion, when you're talking about freedom, you must look at the cultural aspects of that region. American culture focuses more on individualism in its approach towards freedom. Me, myself, and I. My individual freedom is more important than anything else. A great example is when an American introduces himself. They begin by saying their first name, then their last name. When you contrast it with our culture in Nigeria, where family and the society comes first, it's completely different. Let's say in Igbo land, where I come from, We introduce ourselves by our surname first. Hey, my name is Omiri Nnamdi. Now here's another example. In the case of traditional ceremonies like marriages, the community decide what goes rather than the family members or the individuals involved. This is to tell you that what freedom might mean to someone in America isn't going to mean the same thing to you as a Nigerian or someone in China or even anywhere in Africa. Another thing is that before we condemn or approve of someone over the other, we must hear from both sides of the stories before drawing a conclusion. Now remember, we are surrounded by media every now and then. And I'm sorry to tell you, the Western media is the most dangerous of all. We are basically what they say we are. They are funded by government, and their version of democracy infringes the rights of this media. So, they have the right to use the power of the media to color or discolor any nation of their choice. In my opinion, you and I as a Nigerian must anchor our arguments on the side of the truth and think beyond politics. That brings me to the big question. What does freedom mean to a Chinese person? Before I answer this question, I want to tell you why I decided to focus this video specifically on China. China has become one of the most influential nations on earth. With a massive transformation over the last 30 years, China lifted 800 million Chinese out of poverty, broken the record of the world's most industrial nation, built a massive record-breaking COVID-19 hospital, not in 10 years, not in 10 months, not even in 10 weeks, but in 10 days. After that, they contained COVID-19 with ease. What a great nation. When the great America struggled for almost a year and a half. Which nation is as relevant to the world as China? Yet, China is the most ill-spoken nation in the Western world and in Africa. Now, that brings about the question, have we been brainwashed to hate China? I think it's time we began to appreciate and acknowledge the input China has made into the global economy. I mean, Africans, Nigeria as a nation, as a country, needs to work with China. And when it happens, I bet you the whole Africa is going to win. The reason why China-African relationship hasn't blossomed into something great is that the majority of African leaders are selling out African destinies and aren't ready or prepared for African economic transformation. Yes, I said it, and this is my stance. Whenever we are ready, China is there with a great intention to work with Africa. Well, every day I get dozens of emails from people around the world, and I really want to share some of their stories with you. A friend of mine who does videos about China forwarded me an email sent to him by one of his newest subscribers. In that email, the guy who wrote it decided to share what freedom means to him as a Chinese national. He wrote, "Freedom to me means the following: a roof over our head, food on our table, good quality sanitation, access to affordable healthcare system, transportation and education, and living in a safe and a secured environment." We all know what China has done in the last 3 decades to improve its citizens' life, providing a better pathway to jobs and a more secured future by investing in infrastructures. We all know that these are things that many countries find it difficult to do, while China is doing them with absolute ease. Now take a look at this picture. A train station in Guangzhou, China, compared to a train station in New York, United States, and then a train station in Nigeria. Now, this is not just about Guangzhou, China. This is what you see in every part of China. This is how far they have gone towards, ensuring that their citizens have the best of quality infrastructures. Here's another tweet from an American expert. What you're watching is the street of Boston, which has a high rate of homelessness. Can you see that? And I was told that this is just a little that homelessness has a record-breaking level in the United States. Now, what if I told you that this does not exist in China?
If these were the streets of the United States of America, they would be teeming with homeless people. There'd be a sea of tents as far as the eye can see. But it's not. We're in China. And where are all the homeless people?
Or many other Asian countries. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that America isn't the greatest nation on earth. Of course, there are so many amazing things about America, but what I'm saying is that America has no moral justification to define what freedom should mean to Africans. I've been in Cambodia for almost 10 years, and I will tell you for sure that no Cambodian would go this extent just to disrespect their prime minister. The same applies to China. A Chinese person will probably see this as insanity or a disrespect to those in authority, and they will never see it as freedom. Why would you go this length to disrespect your leader? In the case of African leader, I think they deserve more than this. But in the case of Chinese leader, no. He's an amazing man. He doesn't deserve it. Now here's another trending comment from an American referring to China. I'd rather have freedom without safety than be safe without freedom. I will say it again. Your definition of freedom would always be different from that of an average American. A great example of what this person means is the use of firearms in the United States. We all know that America has the highest number of gun crimes in the world. School shooting, homicides, and so on. They are leading the world in all these statistics. I think it would make more sense if teachers were allowed to carry guns in the school so that students would be safer. This comment was made by an American after one of the school shooting incidents. Isn't that funny? On the contrary, a person in Japan or China would probably think to himself, well, in our country, we don't have guns, so we never have to worry about gun safety because we are already safe. In China, Japan, and many other Asian countries, freedom would mean living in a safe and peaceful society. And in the United States, it means having a gun to protect yourself. So the question is, which of these would you rather adopt as freedom? In many Asian countries like China, you do not have the freedom to own a firearm. And the interesting thing is that you don't really need one, because there's continuous surveillance on the streets and everywhere. So as a citizen, you don't really need to worry about your safety. Like I said earlier, everything boils down to cultural differences. We must take note of that. I decided to make this video having observed what is going on in our governments and in the lives of every Nigerian. From adopting the American version of democracy in 1999 to borrowing the clone version of American presidential system of government, all in the name of one man, one vote, so that we, the citizens, can exercise freedom to elect our leaders. But at the end of the day, what did we get? So what if I told you that there are some amazing nations where the citizens do not have the freedom to vote in who becomes the president? And yet, they are doing pretty well. An example is Canada. In Canada, citizens of Canada do not vote in their president. What they do is that they could vote a party of their choice, but inside that party, there will be selection of who becomes president, which is done solely by the party executives. Are you surprised with that? You can research about it. I think one of our problems is misplacing our priorities. We chase shadows instead of substances. We should pay attention to our realities. Do we really need the American version of democracy Is China a democratic nation? Are American citizens happier than Chinese citizens? Not at all. So what is the essence of this Western role model to Nigeria or to Africans? To conclude this video, I would say, in my opinion, that every Nigerian should have a clear picture of what freedom means to us. To me, it essentially means living in a safe society that gives every citizen the platform to thrive. This entails having access to a quality and affordable healthcare system, education, transportation, and all the basic necessities of life. What do you think? You've just heard what freedom means to an average American and Chinese. What does freedom mean to you as a Nigerian? A freedom to own firearms? Freedom to disrespect those in authority or your leaders publicly? Or freedom to live in a peaceful society? Everyone, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Hi everyone, my name is Omire Nnamdi, and thank you so much for spending some time with me here on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next week's video.